Acharya Ashtottara Shata Srimad Abhay Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki, Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So welcome to the morning Bhagavatam class. So today we are reciting the words from Canto 3, chapter 31 and the text 1. So the new chapter we are starting. Title is Lord Kapila's instructions on the movements of the living entities. So the text 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 1, please repeat with me. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Karmana Daiva Netrena. Jantur Deho Papachyate Pache. Striya Pravishta Udaram. Pumso Reta Kanashaya. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Karmana Daiva Netrena. Jantur Deho Papacche. Striya Pravishta Udaram. Pumso Reta Kanashaya. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Karmana Daiva Netrena. Jantur Deho Papatyaye. Striya Pravishta Udaram. Pumso Reta Kanashaya. Prabhuji. Bhagavan Uvacha. Karmana Daiva Netrena. Jantur Deho Papatyate. Shriya Pravishta Udaram. Pumso Reta Kanashaya. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Karmana Daiva Netrena. Jantur Deho Papatyaye. Striya Pravishta Udaram. Pumso Reta Kanashaya. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Karmana Daiva Netrena. Jantur Deho Papatyaye. Striya Pravishta Udaram. Pumso Reta Kanashaya. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Karmana Daiva Netrena. Jantur Deho Papatyaye. Striya Pravishta Udaram. Pumso Reta Kanashaya. Word to word meaning. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Karmana, by the result of work, Daiva Netrena, under the supervision of the Lord. Jantu, the living entity. Deha, a body. Upapattaye, for obtaining. Striya, of a woman. Pravishta, enters. Udaram, the womb. Pumsa, of a man. Reta, of semen. Kana, particle. Ashraya, dwelling in. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation, please repeat with me. The personality of Godhead said, under the supervision of the Supreme Lord and according to the result of His work, the living entity, the soul, is made to enter into the womb of a woman through the particle of male semen to assume a particular type of body. Purport. As stated in the last chapter, after suffering different kinds of hellish conditions, a man comes again into the human form body. The same topic is continued in this chapter. In order to give a particular type of human form to a person who has already suffered hellish life, the soul is transferred to the semen of a man who is just suitable to become his father. During the sexual intercourse, the soul is transferred to the semen of a father into the mother's womb in order to produce a particular type of body. This process is applicable to all embodied living entities, but it is specially mentioned for the man who was transferred to Andathamishra hell. After suffering there, when he who has made many types of hellish bodies like those of dogs and ox is to come again to the human form, he is given the chance to take his birth in the same type of body from which he degraded himself to hell. Everything is done by supervision of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Material nature supplies the body, but it does so under the direction of Super Soul. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that living entity is wandering in this material world on a chariot made by the material nature. The Supreme Lord, a Super Soul, is always present with the individual soul. He directs material nature to supply a particular type of body to individual soul according to the result of his work, and the material nature supplies it. Here one word, Reta Kanashya, is very significant because it indicates that it is not the semen of the man that creates life within the womb of a man. Rather, the living entity, the soul, takes the shelter in a particular semen and is then pushed into the womb of woman. Then the body develops. There is no possibility of creating living entity without the presence of the soul simply by sexual intercourse. The materialistic theory that there is no soul and that a child is born simply by material combination of sperm and ovum is not very feasible. It is unacceptable. Let's do the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shabanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaurabhattarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So is the voice clear? Is there any echoes? Hare Krishna. So we are continuing the Canto 3, the conversation between Kapila Muni and Mother Devahuti. So if we just recollect with the previous chapters what we discussed, so initially Kapila Muni was explaining the bhakti process, how to get the bhakti. Then later he moved on to the topic where those who are not able to do the bhakti, what will be their destination, how they will suffer, what kind of hellish planets they will go. And then later, now in today's chapter, it is clearly, it's mentioned, it's like once after suffering all hellish planets, and what would be the next destination? He will be entering into the womb of a woman. And throughout this chapter, it will be discussed what kind of difficulties the soul is facing in the mother's womb. That is what it is going to be described in this chapter. So even if you see this verse, it's similar to the verse which Shankaracharya was mentioning, right? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi marane jatare shenam, right? So you have to take birth and death, again you have to come into the mother's womb. Same thing here also, this verse is saying that after suffering all hellish suffering in various different hellish planets, you have to come into the womb of mother. That is what. So one important, this is one of the famous verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam. When I was going through the verses, many people were discussing on this verse and related to this verse. So one important word is like this, it was mentioned in the Purport as well, right? The Reta Kanashraya is very significant. It indicates that, in the Purport also Prabhupada mentioned it is not the semen of a man that creates a life within the womb of a woman, rather the living entity, the soul, takes the shelter of a particle of the semen and is then pushed into the womb of a woman, then the body develops. So this is what Kapila Muni was explaining in this Purport. So Prabhupada was using this verse, this chapter, this mainly to defend many of the doctors and scientists. What they were saying is a life comes from a matter. So this is what the Prabhupada always denied. He proposed various arguments to counter this, that life does not come from matter, but life comes from life. There was a book published based on the Srila Prabhupada conversation with some of his disciples who are scientists. So there was there in that book, he clearly mentioned many times that the life comes from life, not matter. So there are various arguments he put forward in this book, and just I would like to quote some of those arguments. So what Prabhupada was saying, right? Many people can assume many things. I can assume something, scientists can assume something, many people can assume something. But at the end, everyone needs to show the proof. How is it possible? Right? So in this example, by saying that, Prabhupada was saying that a father begets a child. Father is a living entity, child is a living entity. But father and mother both unite and produce a child. So father, mother and child, everyone is a living entity. So when the material modern world scientists say life comes from matter, instead of father, a dead stone can be a matter. Can they prove that life comes from a dead stone? Dead stone. That is what Prabhupada was putting argument. If the stone is also matter, if the life comes from matter, as per the scientists, if the life is coming from the matter, but in case of father and mother, they are living entity. So, but they are also material living beings, in one sense. But if the matter, dead stone is also matter. So from the dead stone, can you produce the children? That's what Prabhupada. So no, where is the proof? So the life comes from matter is not correct. The life comes from the life only. That's why Prabhupada was giving various arguments, right? In our scriptures as well, if you see, Brahma was saying that Brahma is the creator of this material world and is the chief engineer of the material world. What he is saying is, Ishvara Paramakrishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govinda. He is the Adi, first person, from where everything comes. All the creation, the material world, all the living beings will be created in this material world. And next one is like even Bhagavad Gita also Krishna is saying, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu Matta Sarvam Pravartate. Everything is emanating from me. Krishna is saying, Krishna is not a matter. We all know Krishna is a super soul. He is a Sachitananda Vigraha. He is a God. It is not a matter. So, from various references from scriptures, it is clearly saying that life comes from life only, not from matter. So, there was the same in that book, the discussion was continuing. The scientist disciple is Dr. Singh. He was saying that at the time, Prabhupada, scientists are planning to create babies in the test tube. Then Prabhupada, what is test tube? Then they saying that they combine the male element and female element in the biological laboratory and they will create the living beings. But what is so great? This naturally it is happening in a mother's womb. You are just creating the mother's womb in a tube. It's nothing great in that. That's what you are still creating. It's not giving much importance on the process, but he is clearly emphasizing that this process is already working in the mother's womb, and same thing you are producing it in a biological laboratory. So that is how he is mentioning. And biologically, how you define the living entity and non-living entity. The living entity, biologically, you can move and reproduce. Whereas a non-living entity, you can't move, you can't reproduce. That is one argument biological scientists will say. But Prabhupada was mentioning that how you define one of the key characteristic of the soul is consciousness. The consciousness is the main reason for to differentiate the living entity and non-living entity. The consciousness is one of the important characteristic that will make the person living or dead. That is how you define. So, if you see these arguments, like the arguments which Prabhupada was mentioning, our scriptures are mentioning, when you see the scientific arguments, it's like just plain black and white. Whatever is there, based on they will try to prove. But when you see the scriptures, like all our scriptures will analyze the matter, the content, subject in the multiple dimensions. Even previous argument also, when male element and female element combines and then produce the body, that's what instead. But Prabhupada was clearly saying that is not the case. Soul is coming into the body of men. From there it is entering into the woman's body, and then because of soul, the body develops. So our scriptures always take multiple dimensions, not just one plain black and white argument. It gives it analyzes the subject in multiple angles and gives the proper interpretation of the subjects. So these are the various things in that book the Prabhupada was mentioning. And other argument was there. If the gardener is putting water in a tree, so can we put water on a dead tree and grow? Then Prabhupada was asking. Then the scientist Dr. Singh was saying that no, because it's dead. Then why it is dead? Because there are certain elements to grow that tree is missing. What are those elements? Prabhupada was asking to the scientist. There are some chemical elements missing. Because of that, the tree is not growing. Then Prabhupada was saying, those elements were present when the tree was proper, and now also that elements are present in the soil. What is the difference? Prabhupada was asking again. Dr. Singh was unable to explain anything. Then the Prabhupada, the life energy is the important thing. That life energy which comes to the soul, that is the important. As long as it is present, that anything will be consciousness. If as long as the living life energy, the living entity leaves that particular body, whether it is a tree or an animal or a human being, then it will be dead. So this is how Prabhupada was establishing the fact that life comes from life. Life does not, it's not just from matter. Whatever the so-called doctor scientists doing that life comes from matter is unacceptable. That's what in the last section of the purport also, Prabhupada was saying that life comes from life, not from matter. So this is one of the important argument Prabhupada was using to define and to counter the doctors and scientists, so-called people, their arguments. Now the next thing, this was establishing the fact that the soul enters into the male body, from there it enters into the female body before developing the body in the soul. So proper material body before developing. Then how the soul takes the shelter of male body first. That is So here also we have many explanations. In this verse, the first line is mentioning karmana daiva netrena. One is karma and next one is supervision of the Lord. These are the two factors contributing to take the soul to take the male body first before entering into the woman's womb. So if we discuss this more in detail, we in one of the Bhagavad Gita purports also Prabhupada explained in many places. So when the living entities, they based on the prior activities, they will go to the heavenly planets or the different like higher planets, and then when they finish their activities, like everyone will, whenever you do activity, your pious activities and sinful activities will be credited. Like you will have some credits of sinful activities, credit of pious activities. When you go to heaven, as long as you have some credit in your pious account, the punya, the activities, then you will be continuing in the heaven. As soon as your credit is finished, what will happen? You will fall down. So when you fall down from the higher planets, you will come into the clouds. And the clouds, when rain, you fall down onto the earth. And then you will enter into the grain. And then from the grain, you will enter into the men's body. Then from there, you will enter. So this is how Prabhupada clearly explained how the soul is playing important role in developing a body in mother's womb. How the entire process Prabhupada was explaining very clearly. Not only that, there are multiple ways. This is one way of taking shelter of male body. How the soul is coming first, the male body. Another thing we can also see in third canto, I think it was in 14th chapter, where we can see the Kashyapa Muni and Diti. They're uniting at the inauspicious time. Right? What will happen? The demonics, the souls which are in the demonic quality, they will take the advantage of that inauspicious activities and they are entering through the Kashyapa Muni through Diti. So this is how the soul is getting coming to the contact with the male, and from there it is going to the woman's womb. So then we understood the two parts. One is how the soul is playing important role in developing the body. Then next we understood how the soul is first taking the shelter of male body. From there it enters, right? Now before coming to this male body, taking the shelter of male body to get a new body, what is happening to the soul? Once you leave the body, once the death happens and the soul leaves the body, and from there, before entering to the next body, what will happen? That is where we will try to discuss some aspects. Actually there are various references, right, from our Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. But one of the important scripture which I was referring here is Garuda Purana. There is one lecture in one of the Prabhus gave the nice lecture on the Garuda Purana. It is two episode session. He clearly explained from the Garuda Purana what is happening, the journey of a soul after leaving the body to until you get the next body, what all the things will happen. So we will try to discuss in the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We try to cover as many points as possible to understand the journey of a soul from the body when it leaves the body to the next, when it enters to the next body. So the Garuda Purana is one of the, we know the 18 Puranas are there. In that 6 are mode of goodness, 6 are mode of passion, 6 are mode of ignorance. This Garuda Purana is one of the 6 Puranas which is in mode of goodness. This is a conversation between Garuda and Supreme Lord. And this Garuda Purana speaks about like the death, after death what will happen, who is Yamaraj, where he resides, what are the different care of hellish planets, and he will describe all the process, and then how to get liberation also it explains. And one more different actually see, when we think about all these aspects, it is clearly mentioned in this purport that this is mainly specific to the people who are suffering in the hellish conditions. In relation to that, this topic is being explained. But if you see the devotees, the difference between the devotees and non-devotees. The devotees try to understand Krishna with the help of devotion. But whereas the non-devotees, like one example it was mentioned, that one of the space scientists, Yuri Gagarin, he went to space. He was the first person went to walk on the space. And after going to the space, he said, okay, I don't see any God, because he is an atheist. He said, I don't see any God. God is not there. So then somebody was replying that, once your oxygen tank is finished, then you will see the God. So that is, he is in the space, he is breathing with the help of oxygen. When you know, but somebody was saying that once your oxygen is finished, then you will see the God. So what this example is relevant is, devotees always try to understand Krishna through devotion. Whereas for non-devotees, understanding the death is like understanding, they try to understand the God through the death. So what is the death? It's we know the Bhagavad Gita 2.13. Dehinosmin yata dehi kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara praptis dhiras tattva namayate. Like how we are changing the dress from one shape to another. Similarly, the soul takes one gross body and leaves one gross body and gets another gross body. This is in a brief summary. What is a death? So leaving, it's the soul and subtle body leaves the gross body. That is how we can understand that is a death. So when again Garda Purana is also saying that 5 things fixed in our life. Whenever so you did all the journey, right from the hellish planets, you took the mother's womb, you took the birth. There are 5 things fixed for any living entity who takes birth after suffering so many things. So what is the 5 things? Lifespan. It is determined how long you will live. I think it will be counted in number of breaths you take. That is fixed. And happiness and difficulties. Whatever happiness, difficulties you encountered face in the life, you will be. That is fixed. So if you are happy or if you are suffering, don't blame others. It is as per karma you are getting. It is predefined. You are supposed to get these difficulties and you are encountering. Don't blame others. And our education, whatever education we are going to take, that is also fixed. So again, don't think that okay, karma it is written, so I don't need to study, it will come automatically. No, you have to work. Then karma will give the reaction, the results. Right? That is how we need to take. And the character in a family, there are multiple brothers and sisters will be there from the same father and mother, but their character will be different based on the karma. And the last thing, time and circumstances of death. These are all things fixed for any living being. So the 5 things are like lifespan, happiness and difficulties, our education, character, and time and circumstances of death. But these are all for common people. What is the relevance to how it is applicable to devotees? Devotees, it doesn't. All these things can be changed if you are surrendered to Krishna. These things doesn't matter. Everything, like if you remember, Prabhupada was telling, if you stand in front of deity, you clap and chant Hare Krishna. All your karma will be, whatever past as per your previous reactions, whatever as karma was written, everything will be wiped out. Krishna takes charge of your next destination. That is how. So that's what is the Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mameke Sharanam Raja, right? So you surrender to Krishna, leave, abandon all varieties, then these 5 things will not be relevant to you. That is the devotee's position. So this most of the content which is specific to it. It's not, if you are in the bhakti path, these are not relevant. But when you are not in bhakti path, these are all things applicable. That is also. So how it is relevant? So if you are in the bhakti path, you don't need to bother. But if you are trying to preach someone who is a non-devotee, if he is not listening anyway, then you can use these scary things to make him understand. So that if you don't follow bhakti, these things will happen. Are you ready to face this? This is one way to bring people into the Krishna, the devotion path. And Yamaraj he is the son of sun god. He is the son of sun god, and they have the twins. Like one sister is Yamuna Devi, the twin sister. And he is not an ordinary person. He is one of the 12 Mahajans. And when we know that when people take sinful activities, Yamadutas will come and take. And when we do bhakti, Vishnu Dutas will come. Then when we do pious activities, who will take? We never heard in any references. Any guess? Yamadutas only. It's again with for the fire. So when the sinful activities, both sinful or pious activities, This Yamadutas will take. Only the devotees, we see in Ajami's story, Vishnu Dutas will come and take. But who are these Yamadutas? The Yamadutas are the ones who are the sinful living beings. After death, they don't have any descendants to offer the pinda, all the Shraddha ceremony, right? Those people are become the Yamadutas. So where is that Yamaloka is situated? This Yamaloka is situated, we have the 14, in universe, we have the 14 planetary systems, right? Earth is in the middle, so heavenly planets on the top, hellish planets on the bottom. Last hellish planet is Patala Loka. Below Patala Loka and next to Garbhodaka ocean, so below Partha Loka, that is the southern side of it is mentioned clearly. In southern side, between the Partha Loka and Garbhodaka ocean, these hellish planets are mentioned. This is not just one. In Garuda Purana, it was mentioned that there are 8 million plus hellish planets are there, but in the prominent one are 21, which is where mentioned in our Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are all the various hellish planets. So, and Yamasya Karuna Nasti, Yamaraj will not show any mercy, right? This is what we mean. Suppose there are two examples, two small stories I will explain that shows that one of the 5 things are fixed, right? One of the 5 things, your death and the time and circumstance of death is fixed. To understand that, there are these 2 stories will give you more idea. Like one day, one person is sitting in his house, old man. Suddenly, Yamaraj came and knocked the door. So when he opened the door, Yamaraj was standing. And this person was, Yamaraj was saying, your time is up, let's go. Then the person was saying, oh, how come you came suddenly? I didn't give any indication that you are coming. Then the person, Yamaraj told, I gave 4 SMS before coming. What? 4 SMS? No, I didn't receive anything. Then the Yamaraj told, first thing, your hair was grey, the grey color. That is the first SMS. Second message is your knees having the problem. Third one, you are losing your eyesight. And fourth one, your teeth falling. These are all the 4 messages I already gave you. You didn't realize it. Then that person was telling, okay, I have so many responsibility to finish. I haven't finished many things. Then Brahma told, today I have to take 40 people. So you are in the first list. So you come with me, then I can go with the remaining 40. Then he was trying to negotiate with Yamaraj. Okay, put me in the last 40th person. I will come little late. Meanwhile, I will finish. Then the guy invited Yamaraj and offered some coffee, drink. And when he was trying to offer, when Yamaraj was not saying, he put some sleeping pill in that. And the Yamaraj took and he slept. And then this person took the slip from the Yamaraj, and then he saw the 40 people name. Then he changed the first name and he put his name in the last. And then after some time, Yamaraj got up and he said, okay, you are taken care of me. So I will give one concession. Today I will not start from the bottom, but I will not from the top, but I will take from the last 40. So what he did, the person changed, when Yamaraj was sleeping, in the sleeping state, he changed the order. His name was in first and he moved his name to last. But when Yamaraj got up, Yamaraj was saying that, because I am so much happy with your service, so for this time I will change the order. I will put you in the 40th position. I will, we will start there. But he will start from, Yamaraj told he will start from the 40th position. But what he did, this person kept his name in the 40th position. That's that your time and circumstances, it will not change at the time of death for all the normal beings. This is one thing we can understand that point, how our death and circumstance time, it will not change. Another story also there, this I think many must have heard, one bird story. One small bird was sitting on a tree, and one day the Yamaraj was going from there and he was closely observing the bird. It's very small bird. And the bird is also, by seeing the Yamaraj, the bird was very scared. And I think that then she suspected that Yamaraj is going to take me. So then she was praying, and then Garuda came. And she told, that bird told Garuda that, okay, this Yamaraj just now was watching me and going from there. and I think Yamaraj is going to pick me up and take this abode. Then the Garuda told, okay, I will take you for so long distance that Yamaraj cannot see you and identify you. Then the Garuda took that bird. It traveled a long distance. Morning it started, sometime in the evening they reached the destination. It's very in mountain hill area for very long distance. Garuda, it took long time, means you can imagine how far is the distance they traveled. So then the bird was there. But Yamaraj came again, he took the bird's life, the soul from that bird. Then the Garuda was inquiring, I got this bird to escape you from your death from such a far distance. How come, why you are taking away? But the Yamaraj was telling that in the morning when I saw the bird, it was somewhere else. As per Yamaraj's instructions, it's supposed to take death in some other location, which is very far. Then the Yamaraj was thinking how this bird can travel that much distance in a short span of time and then it will leave its body. The Yamaraj was thinking, that's why he was closely seeing that bird, how come this small bird can travel up to that distance and take death. Right? But the Yamaraj, with the Garuda's help, the Yamaraj's order thing, the requirement was fulfilled. And finally the Yamaraj told, if the time is up, nobody can stop. Then the Garuda also did not. But the point which I am trying to highlight is that death, time and circumstances, it will not change. It is fixed as per our death. When we are taking birth, it is fixed and nobody can change that. But only devotees will have exception. That is what. So, and in the Garuda Purana it is also mentioned what will happen after leaving the body, immediately after leaving the body. So, when a person leaves the body, that soul, first Yamadutas will come, right? In case of the pious people or the sinful people, Yamadutas will come and Yamadutas will take the soul. Immediately it takes the soul, the Yamadutas will take present in front of Yamaraj and Yamaraj will open his account and he will see all the account, the Chitragupta, with the help of, he will try to see. And then this Yamaraj will ask the soul, what are the sinful activities you did? Then the Yamaraj will, the soul will not remember. With the Yamaraj danda, he will make a hit on his head. Then the soul will start remembering all his past sinful activities. Then what is the atonement for this one? Then the soul will tell that, okay, my family is there, my wife, my son, they will do all the atonements. Then they will bring, this is what mentioned in Garuda Purana. So then the soul will, Yamadutas will so bring the soul, bring back to the earth. When they come, it comes to the earth, it will not, it is mentioned that they will be standing 10 feet above the earth. They will not touch the ground. It will be the soul and the Yamadutas will be standing 10 feet above the earth. And the soul, this happens in one muhurt, means it's in 48 minutes after death. So the soul will go to and take darshan and then with Yamadutas it will come back to the Buloka, but it will not touch the ground. And the soul can see all these family members, everything, but he cannot, he will try to communicate, but they will not be able to receive any message from this. And one more thing that is mentioned, right, in the Garuda Purana will saying that during the tist, once the rites, everything, the cremation, the buried or the funeral rites finish, then every day you have to offer pinda to the departed soul. The reason is that with that pinda, that will be divided into multiple portions. Some portion will be taken by the departed soul, some portion will be taken by the Yamadutas, right? They will take. And this, when the soul is leaving the body, it will be the size of the soul is like thumb. But after offering the pinda, the body start developing, that is pinda sharira. Right? This body will be there until 12th and until it reaches to Yamaloka. And on the 12th and 30th people will do many rites. Right? When you do all the right, the proper food will be given to this soul and then the soul starts its journey. If you see that in our previous verses, it was described when you are traveling to hellish planet, so many so much distance you have to travel, which is mentioned some, let me recollect the numbers. Yeah, it was 247 yojanas to reach Yamaloka, and every day it travels 3,161 kilometers every day. So it travels with the speed of wind. That's how it, and finally it reaches to Yamaloka. When it reaches to Yamaloka, that is where the Pinda Sharira will be transferred to Chetana Sharira. This is the way whence the body will be ready to get all the punishments. This is the body. Even if the body will not be deteriorated, it will not be killed. So this is called the Chetana Sharira. Also Yatana Sharira. Both are, I think I heard another word as well. So the soul will get this body and then it will start taking all the punishment. Then again the Yamadutas will take to the Yamaraj. There are 4 gates. The sinful persons will enter to the south gate and the remaining 3 gates for the pious entities. Then both sinful and pious people will be going into the Yamaraj, and based on their sinful and pious activities, the Yamaraj will be deciding where to go. And we know the previous verses we read, there are many hellish planets. Depending on the sinful activity, bad activities you did, you will be going to different hellish planets. And there are some very multiple things. If a person did both sinful activities and punya, the good activities, what will happen to them? Suppose if you did 70% of good activities and 30% bad activities. See, the karma is very complicated. Nobody can understand how karma will take you to the next destination. Since these are the results of karma, right? These things exactly we know. There is no hard and fast rule how each person's karma and according to the activities you did, your next destination will be decided. But in general, the process at a high level, guidelines for the process, how we can understand is, if you did the 70% of sinful activities and 30% are bad activities, the Yamaraj says, okay, you go to 70% for since a good day, you go to heavenly planets. But for the remaining 30%, you will not go to hellish planet, but you will take birth again on the on the earth planet. That for to suffer 30%, maybe you will be not having the proper senses, like you may not be deaf, you may be dumb, or you may be having some injuries to some problem in the body, that kind of. In other way around, if you take 30% of the good activities, 70% of the bad activities, then what will happen? You will go to the hellish planet first to enjoy 30% of the good. Again you will take birth, but you will get in some nice family, you will have the different. If you did 50-50, then you will come to directly earth planet, and these are some of the guiding principles how the suffering soul will have the options. So, but this is all for the normal people who are not a devotee, who are not in the path of bhakti. For people who are in the path of bhakti, once you chant Hare Krishna, clap your hand, chant Hare Krishna, dance, do all the devotional service, Krishna takes the charge of your next destination. He will decide where you wanted to go, where you have to go. He will take charge of all your destination. So this is mainly, even in this verse purport also, Prabhupada was mentioning that the suffering and all those things explained in relation to the people who suffered went to Andhakamishra hellish planet. In relation to that, this chapter being described, but it is applicable to all living beings, but not for devotees. That is how we can understand. So I don't want to give more scary information, but yeah, better I suggest you to do bhakti and forget all these things. That is what my key conclusion. Hare Krishna. Any comments? Yeah, Prabhu, this is just a glimpse. Okay. Grantarashi, sir. See, there is animal ceremony. See, generally, as per this one, animal ceremony, this is the soul takes 1 year to reach Yamaloka. After 13th day, it takes 1 year to reach the Yamaloka. So, during the time, some people do monthly Shraddha ceremony for first 1 year. That is how you feeding. So, this is it takes 1 year. That's why we do the annual ceremony. The final 1 year anniversary. After that, yeah, soul goes to get the different punishments and all. But the other question you are asking about every year we can see. This is what we have to offer. That is what it is mentioned. We have to offer every year. Until we don't know when the soul will come back where, and we don't know the destination. But we have to keep feeding it. That's the. See, Prabhu, there are various arguments, various things were there, but what I understood from some other, my Siksha Guru and other senior devotees, right? See, the devotee, the definition, if you think that you are a pure devotee, you can follow, you don't need to do, but we can realize ourselves, are we pure, really pure enough to avoid all the Shraddha ceremony, everything? So, that's what we need to do. But if you think that you are not a pure devotee, better you pray everything. Krishna takes care, but from your side, you do all the rituals, whatever is required. That's how I got the answer from my seniors. Yes, Prabhu. Pitruloka, yeah. Your question is, what is Pitruloka, is it? See, this is what I understand from this is the loka where all the, I think if I understand correctly, I don't remember exactly, but it is where that this Yamaraj and all the people, these people will be staying there. That is their loka. I may be wrong, but that's what I heard. I remember vaguely. And the Yamadutas are the Yamadutas. You understand, right? Yamadutas are these are the people for whom there is no descendants, and those people are become the they will become Yamadutas. That's it. So I think these all people will be living in Pitruloka. That's my understanding, but I am not sure, Prabhu. Yeah. So I got some information from the Garuda Purana, but I don't have that exact information. But as per my remembrance, that is what I remember, but I maybe not. I am not 100% sure. Okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.